Hi and welcome to another YouTube video. Today's video is a collab with the wonderful Mystic Fairy. I'll have all her links down in the description, and this collab was so fun and inspiring because the idea was that she would create a household, like a household of a few sim. It could have also been one sim, but it was this wonderful group of sims. I'll talk a little bit more about her household later. And then she also created a story that I'm also going to tell you later. And then I saw this household, I read the story, and then I built a house inspired by them, fitting for them and their needs. So that's the idea basically. And the household that she created for me was this evil witch named Bertha Borges, and she is evil and jealous and she hates children, but at the same time she lives with these 6 little girls. And if you look into the eyes of these 6 little girls, you can see that they are not quite normal girls. And the story goes, legend says an evil witch granted herself eternal youth with the help of her daughters. These girls were once children of the locals, but their innocence has long been taken over by a dark magic contained within handmade dolls the witch keeps inside her house. The girls serve their mother by luring others into the witch's home, where Bertha proceeds to feast on the unlucky victim's soul and absorbs their youth. What remains of the person the daughters devour. So this story is pretty dark and kind of spooky, and this witch is definitely evil. So my first instinct was to go with a very dark, spooky and evil looking build. But when I tried those, it looked more like a build for a vampire or ghosts and stuff, and it didn't really read witch to me. And evil things can definitely hide in beautiful places, so I decided to go another round and build a very beautiful, magical fantasy place with waterfalls, lots of flowers and lots of water, and just the witch hut in the middle of it. Oh, and I also quickly want to say that I am going to have some nods and references to this story in the cinematic tour at the end, so stay tuned for that. So even though the build in the end gives off kind of a different atmosphere than the story, I still think it fits very, very well with the household and the story, because my first impression of Bertha is that she's pretty concerned with her aesthetic and also craves this eternal youth. And so if she could choose any place in the world to have her secret hiding spot and home and all of that, she would choose a place that is aesthetically pleasing and full of life and beauty, because that's the things that she wants for herself. And it's pretty high. There are these big hills and mountains, and it's not that easily accessible, so that if someone finds out about her evil doings and wants to take revenge or take her to justice, she will have the advantage and the high points to see them coming and to be able to defend herself. And when she wants to lure someone in, there's still ways. There's this long bridge, and there's also these stairs that go up very high. So there are ways to make it accessible and to lure people in, but at the same time she can defend herself there very well, which I think is very good for her and her plans. And because of this difference in height in the front of the lot and the back of the lot, and also there being so much water, it just made sense to have waterfalls, and creating these 3 waterfalls was so much fun. I finally found this debug item in the Island Living debug to create the waterfalls. The terrain the shape of the terrain, how steep the fall off was, didn't fit in quite well with this debug item, that I wasn't like able to change in size, or like rotation was possible but the size wasn't adjustable, so that didn't fit perfectly. But so sometimes there are these effects that are kind of floating in the air, which isn't like perfect or optimal, but I still think it looks very nice with these waterfalls. And also it was the first time that I created a waterfall, so please give me a little bit of like leeway if these waterfalls aren't perfectly executed. I'm trying to get better at them for future builds like this. And I hope it's understandable that I cut out most of the process of me building these waterfalls and then surrounding them and framing them with stones, and then also framing all of the water areas with stones, because it was just very repetitive. The gist of it is just search for island living debug and search for a very like turquoise looking item that you can't really see or recognize, and then just hiring or lowering it in the way that you want, and then surrounding it with rocks. And then another thing that I did for the first time in this build was building a bridge. I don't know why I never did it before, because I love to surround my builds with rivers and also with like seas and ponds and stuff. So I don't know why I never did it, but it wasn't that hard or difficult to do. It was actually quite fun. And I think it adds a lot to the builds to actually be able to walk over a bridge without it stopping the water underneath it. And yeah, so I think you could say that I actually pushed myself with this build, because I did a lot of things that I never did before. And so I was kind of proud of myself, even though the end product is of course not perfect, because I'm still learning and I don't expect myself to do it perfectly when I do it for the first time. But I am very, very happy with the overall look that the landscape has at the end. Oh, and I also quickly wanted to say that I hope that the speed build isn't sped up too much. I had that problem in the past where I sped it up too much, and so it was very hard to watch and not enjoyable to watch. But this time, like I paid a lot of attention to that afterwards, but this time it just was so much footage and I had so many things that I wanted to keep in. And so I had to speed it up a little bit more, and I would really enjoy a little bit of feedback if this is still like okay to watch speed wise, or if I should just make longer speed builds that are a little bit more easy to follow. And then when it came to the interior, I tried something new, and I went through all of the different catalogs and build items, and I picked out all of the items that I definitely wanted to use on the inside. And so I put all of them on the front porch, and I had this large area full of stuff, and kind of got inspired by that and the items that I found. And so when I really got to the inside, I first put in the items that I had picked out and then decorated around it to make it look more fitting or more filled up. And I really, really wanted a very crowded, cluttered interior full of plants, full of dried herbs, because that just gives me the witch hut interior look that I wanted to. And yeah, so the first two floors also, they are very witchy, they are very magical, they are very much the witch hut style with all of these kind of magical items, but they are at the same time quite bright. But the darkness of the story and the evil side of Bertha you can really see in the basement. But we aren't there yet by a long slide. First I needed to pick out wallpaper, And the wallpaper that I chose was Jungle Adventure wallpaper that I absolutely love because it has this, it looks like it has kind of a 3D texture, like some parts stick out more than others because it looks like clay. There are some parts of it that kind of glow, which I really like. It kind of gives the whole house this kind of old look and like it's hand built almost, or self-built. And then I went in and I placed cracks all over this wallpaper to age the interior of the house even more. And now you can see me build the furnace and furnace area in this entryway, and I just had so much fun cluttering it up with so many plants and herbs. And it was, as you can see, the first thing that I built in this whole interior, and it was really important for giving me direction for the rest of the house, which I was kind of lacking for the interior in this case. And so I was really thankful for the furnace area and not furnace, the this fireplace area was what I meant to say. So yeah, I had a lot of fun cluttering all of this entryway up. Oh, and now something completely different, and that is that I worked out a new schedule for myself, and I think that's going to work very well. It's only going to go into effect after the 10th of February, however that's pronounced, but until then I still have lots of exams for uni, but afterwards I really want to go hard on YouTube and content, and I can't wait because we are almost at 400 subscribers, which is mental. I'm so excited, and I'm going to make a Twitter post about the new schedule on the 10th, but I'll quickly let you know now what I have planned, and that is that I'm going to keep uploading like bigger Sims builds and videos on Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and or around 6 p.m. and then I'm going to stream on Sundays and Thursdays, and there are going to be shorts on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So Monday is going to be the only day where there's no content that I'm putting out, and I'm super excited to start working on it. And yeah, I just realized the last few months that I just am so happy working on videos. Like, I can literally wake up at 8 a.m. and work on a video until 2 a.m. at night and go to sleep happy. So this is definitely right for me, and I can't wait to go harder at it when I don't have exams anymore. But quickly back to the build. So you saw me finishing the kitchen, which I really like the end result. I cluttered it up a lot. I tried to make it look very old, but still make it functional, and that worked, which is super nice. And then afterwards I kind of cleaned up one half of the front porch because I already used a lot of the items that I really wanted to use in this build. And then underneath that is a little floor that is more of a filler floor for stairs and stuff, because it's pretty small, and so I turned that into a little library, and the bedrooms and bigger rooms are all in the basement, one floor below. And the floor plan worked perfectly the way I wanted it between these different pools. Of course, it's meant to be a river in this build, but in The Sims, the build assets that I used are pools. So they have these walls in the basement, and I was able to put the floor plan that I wanted in between, which was awesome. And what I did was make 6 very, very small bedrooms for the daughters and one more bathroom, and then also I wanted to have a bar. I wanted one room for seances and lots of different magic stuff, and like potions and stuff. And then also she would have a bigger bedroom, much bigger bedroom than her daughters. And then I worked on the Seance and Magic Room and Bertha's bedroom kind of at the same time, because in my mind those are her two main rooms where she lives and sleeps and works. So I thought that kind of makes sense for them to be in a very similar style with matching wood tones as much as that's possible in The Sims. And yeah, I think that worked out well, but I'm very sorry if building two rooms kind of at the same time is confusing in the speed build. But yeah, I really liked her bedroom. Her bed is definitely like something, it's very glamorous almost, but like from a very old time. And then there are also lots of plants in her bedroom, because yeah, I think plants are just symbolizing life in a way. They are alive, they give you air to breathe, and I kind of liked her being obsessed with having plants everywhere. Also, that gave me a nice excuse to build with plants everywhere, which is always awesome. And yeah, because upstairs it made so much sense because of all of the dried herbs that gave this nice witch hut look. And also I really like that we now have 3 kinds of dried herbs, which is very nice, because otherwise these walls decorated with the dried herbs would have looked very weird and repetitive. So it's nice that we have some variation there. But yeah, I got sidetracked. So she loves to put plants everywhere, as you can see, all over her house, and I love that for her, because this kind of gives her a lot of character, even though she's very evil. Like she loves to be surrounded by plants, but to kind of lean in more into her evil side, I decorated the children's rooms very, very sparsely. Like, decorated is even a stretch. There are no decorations there. There is one lamp, one bed, and one dresser, and nothing else. Just the dolls. Or are it the children, or are it the dolls, or are they the dolls that are connected to the children? Anyways, every room has this one doll that is sitting in the room, and I think that has, like, of the whole house, these rooms have the most creepy feel to them, which I tried to kind of accentuate in the cinematic tour at the end. And yeah, I love decorating them, and having them be kind of like prison cells was very fitting, I think, because I don't think like the original children would have stayed there at will, and now they are these like dark and turned and twisted creatures that Bertha turned them into. So I don't think she would have given them very big and decorated rooms. So this prison cell feel felt right for them. And with that, this build is almost complete, and we are soon going to be into the cinematic tour, and I'm super excited to show that to you. But I hope you liked and enjoyed the speed build, and if you would consider subscribing, you would make me super duper happy. I hope we'll see each other again.